Welcome back, everybody. Part 2. More magic. Magic things. Magic and feelings. Feelings and magic. It's Mage.
Magic feeling.
And a bag of cheesies. That's a bonus. So is that what Kaguya is doing? Just sitting in the theater, fucking chowing down on some cheesies, or?
No.
Kaguya wouldn't
He
eat
is making a stand against seat thieves everywhere.
Right, occupying your seat forever and ever.
So, actually, yes. What I am doing, while all this other shit is happening, which is probably more important, I'm making my seat inexorably mine.
Okay.
So I'm going to use Prime too.
All right.
To align the chair's essence with my own, so that it just
right.
fundamentally my seat, and the energy harmonics of it perfectly resonate with mine.
That is a real thing that you can do.
And it's both me being really catty and selfish and just being this is my chair. Step off.
No asshole will ever sit in my stupid chair again.
It also makes it a little magic chair for me to do magic from.
That's so awesome. Okay, so how does that work? Do you have to invest quintessence in your magic chair?
I don't think so. I think I'm just manipulating its.
Yeah, and it's because
everything has quintessence in it, right?
Yeah, totally. And because that's so funny, because it's the Eunice is being impelled in the chair. People will some of your arcane will go into it too, where people just assume, oh, someone must be sitting here, or
yeah, exactly.
They won't notice that seat. You'll end up with a full house with an empty seat in the middle.
Oh, amazing.
Awesome. Okay, all right. So I guess the difficulty then is this is coincidental, right? Because there's no witnesses. It's not causing any kind of external effect that anyone would be able to notice. Okay, cool. It's like a butt groove for your soul. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, cool. So its difficulty is 5.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say you're gonna need. Well, it's a fairly significant task to align a theater chair, but it is in your chantry already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. You're using your magical dibs. You're calling shotgun. Okay. Let's say you're gonna need. I think 3 successes. It's a significant task.
Okay. So I need to then get additional successes because I'm only rolling the 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I do that?
You can buy a success with willpower. You can also spend quintessence to reduce the difficulty.
Okay, so I'll spend 1 willpower to buy a success, and then what's the difficulty going to be? Sorry.
The difficulty would have been 5, but if you spend a quintessence, it'll drop it to 4.
I mean, you could make it a project, right? You could do it over a couple of rolls, eventually.
Yeah,
well,
I guess I'm wondering if it's an extended roll or not. I mean, I think it might take some time to do, because this is the first sort of will working we've seen that isn't just throwing stuff around. I think this is there would be a ritual to this, that it would take some time to attune the chair.
All right. Well, I want to set that off then.
Yeah. Word.
So
Okay.
do I not roll now, or do I roll?
You will roll. Let me double check the rules for rituals, but I think it's just that I give you a number of successes you'll need over time, and then each roll represents a certain amount of time invested in the chair ritual.
It's especially significant as well, because you're sort of proliferating your supposedly non-existent soul into other things. So it's probably it's worth doing as a ritual, because it's probably something that you'll be doing for the first time, and it's significant to the way you're interacting with the world. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at the effects here too. So, I feel like this is a shared space. How? But also there's space within that space that belongs individually to. I'm thinking just about property ownership in a cosmological sense, because while you all own the chantry, Yori owns the projection booth, so it's not unreasonable that you would own this seat. Okay, so it's not, there's no opposed residence here.
At least you agree that it's not unreasonable that you own this seat. You gotta appease Kaguya on that
Well,
part.
and other people know that it's my spot too,
Yeah.
and that's been kind of like reinforced by other people in the chantry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's say it's a ritual that requires, I don't know. We'll say 10 successes over time, to attune it. At a base difficulty of 5 for each roll. Let me just double check there isn't any special stuff for the ritual. Yeah, extended rituals and successes. Yeah, okay, so it just means it's a spell you can cast over time.
Okay, well then I'll just do it without spending any points.
Sure. The thing with extended rolls, if you botch a roll at any time, it just blows the whole thing. Like it just really does. Like the whole thing is just gone.
Yeah.
But failures just mean you make no progress.
All right. Well, here's to botching on the first roll.
Did you?
We almost did it.
Let's say you almost did. Wow! You don't want to say things like that before you roll. It's dangerous business.
Oh, Kaguya got their
It's
back.
Mage. If you say it's going to happen, magically it will happen. That's what the entropy sphere is about.
If
Come
you believe
on.
in the botch. All right, let me add your chair ritual to my my little projects. My project screen here. It's just a counter.
Well, I try. Okay, I try.
All right, so you start. You start trying to invest your essence into this chair. What?
And I think that looks like me, like just trying to nail the exact perfect like seating posture in it, and the exact like arrangement of my clothes and everything else. Kind of like I was doing previously, but now I'm like really thinking like not just how do I feel like doing it right now, but like what is the objectively best way to sit in this chair and watch a movie.
Okay. Perfect. And maybe like I mean it could be that you spend some time like trying to figure out whether this is the chair first, right? Where you're like, is this the perfect chair? Maybe
Is this really like
better.
I've been sitting here, but is this really the right
Is it
one?
really
Like I have
the
to
best
confirm.
Okay, so because you failed, the difficulty will go up to 6 on the next roll.
Great.
But you still have quintessence and stuff for that one. All right. So you've been doing that.
And maybe also like I'm just annoyed. Someone sat in it and probably
Totally.
like
Yeah, you're trying to just reestablish.
And that Nero guy seemed like a douche. So
is that you're just trying to cleanse his douche essence from the chair?
that's part of it too. Yeah, I'm just like
Real
really
though.
flustered by this. Like,
Right. Yeah. The flow of the chair's essence has been disrupted. Okay. So do you I'm gonna say each roll it takes an hour to like do each roll. So what's why what do you do after you fail? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you calm about it? Like and then do you leave or?
Well, I'm just waiting in here for like all this other stuff for like the event to kind of blow over.
Yeah.
So that I can talk to everyone about what I found and what we're gonna do about going to Robert's lab. Like I'm really focused on that, and I have been since we found that information.
Right. Okay.
And I feel like everyone else is kind of distracted.
Yep.
But I'm too like self-effacing to like ever go and actually like take over the conversation and be like, hey, we need to talk about this thing.
Mhm.
So I have to like wait for my moment, and as long as I'm waiting, I will be in here fussing over my seat.
Awesome.
So if it takes like 2 hours, then yeah, give me another roll at it. But otherwise, I just
Okay.
spent
Yeah, I mean that roll was just to cover the amount of time that it took, like getting folks out. Okay, so let's get back to Desmond and Litany. So where were you going? What was your plan there? Yeah.
Yeah, I was we were chatting. Dude was like maybe trying to flirt with me, and I was like, I am working right now. And then I did the like, but I could not be working in like 5 minutes if you can hang out, and I'm like heading over to laptop dude.
Right, you're gonna go talk to laptop dude. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, you walk towards him, and yeah, he's sitting there working on his laptop. From what angle do you approach? You're gonna come up behind him, or
No, because that's really rude.
gonna get that flanking bonus?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna walk towards him from the direction that I am in relation to where he is. I assumed based on how I would sit in a place that he's sitting with kind of his back to a wall or corner.
Yes, he's in the table closest to the corner with he's in the chair closest to the corner, and he's still got this like unfinished beer just kind of like quietly sweating on the table next to him.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll walk up to him. And does he like look up at all or like notice me walking towards him? Like when I get closer?
He doesn't notice you. Whether he notices or not is you can't tell. But
Do I notice him noticing me? Is more, I guess, the question.
he continues looking at his laptop and typing what he's typing until you are like obviously in the bubble around the table, right? You've like and he stops and like looks up at you, kind of expectantly as you approach.
And yeah, I'm like basically at the table at this point, and I'm like, hey, and I like pull out the other chair for myself, like next, like next, like corner to him, and like kind of start sitting down in it.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know if I got your name earlier. I'm Litany.
He seems like kind of confused by this interaction, like, what? But you work here. Why are you sitting there and talking to me? Like he kind of looks at you, like, and then he puts his hand out. It's like, Emilio, hi. Like, shakes your hand.
Cool. Nice to meet you, Emilio. You're here for the movie and everything?
He looks around and notices the place is mostly closed, and he's like, oh, God, I'm sorry. Are you trying to close? And he like goes to close his laptop.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to interrupt. It's just like, it turns out things have kind of wound down or whatever.
So he closes his laptop, and you notice he's got a like a sticker on the front of it that's like a triangle with an eye on it. And underneath it says the waking eye. Yeah, he closes the laptop and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm really focused. I trying to get my impressions down before it all,
And I nod like I do know. That's the impression my nod is meant to give.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I'm like, cool, who are you here with?
He's like, oh, I mean, and he like looks around. Myself mostly. But I got a pass from, and he like looks at the sticker on his laptop. I work for a magazine. We're kind of small, still, traditionally printed. Yeah, like, so I run the culture column sometimes, and so
Cool.
they said there was a film tonight, and so, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Great. Actually, I would, like, less so for me, but my friend who organized it, you must know them. And I look expectantly like they're going to fill in with like, oh yeah, so-and-so.
Yeah, they look around, they're like,
And I'm like,
yeah, no, I don't really know anybody here. I
weird.
got the address from my editor, and
yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm not buying this bullshit from this dude.
I love how bloodthirsty Chad is all the time. Like, there's already like, kill this guy. He's a little suspicious.
Yeah. And so I was like chatting with him. I'm like, oh, cool. And I was like, oh yeah, you must know my friend. And he's like, oh no, I don't. I'm like, oh, well, I know that they will be super stoked to read your write-up. They're really interested in hearing everybody's impressions and stuff. What's the name of your publication?
He like looks through his pockets and he takes out a card and he gives it to you. And yeah, on the one side it's a black kind of semi-gloss like business card. On the back it's got that same obviously the color's inverted. It's got a white triangle with an eye. Very simple line drawing, and underneath in probably like Courier or Courier New, it just says the waking eye. On the other side, it says it says Emilio da Costa, and I guess it probably just says like writer, I guess. And then it's got like an address, like Emilio at the wakingeye.org.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And I'll be like, I'm like, oh, cool. Can I keep this?
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. Of course.
Rad. And I like kind of gesture his beer. I'm like, oh, you didn't really get a chance. But, like his unfinished beer is sitting there.
Yeah, he looks at it and he's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I don't need to finish it. And he's like wrapping up his laptop cord and like putting it in his bag.
I think I'm gonna be like, this is rude of me, but do you mind if I like scoop that from you then? I could
Yeah,
I could go for a beer right
no,
now.
he just laughs. He's like, no, yeah, of course. Sure.
Okay, I want to use his beer to like figure out what the fuck is up with this dude.
Yeah. You could totally do that.
Do some witchy shit.
I am
So,
planning
what do
to
you
do
what do you want to do? What is your intent?
I mostly care more about intent than like content, you know what I mean? So I want to figure out like why he's actually, because I'm feeling very suspicious of him.
Yeah.
So I want to have a better idea of like why he's actually here and like what's he doing here? Who is he?
Mm-hmm. And how does his beer do that for you? In what way?
I mean, he drank some of it.
Yeah. There's
Not
like
a lot.
a tiny amount of like his spit in it for sure.
Yeah, so his spit's already in it, and like both bodily fluids and alcohol are like definite tools of mine.
Yep.
So actually, yeah, I'm gonna be like, thanks, and I'm gonna pick it up and just like
Yeah, and drink it. Yeah.
like the whole thing,
Totally.
just
Yeah.
down the whole thing, and like kind of in that like moment of like vroom, kind of where your body's like, why? That like moment where you're not like suddenly really drunk, but you have that like little, I just downed a whole beer feeling.
Yeah. Where you're like, and you like, it's enough that it's not easy to drink it in one go. Like you have to like breathe while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I like that.
And yeah, and so I've been like watching his face while he's talking to me and everything, and like being really like not like vulnerable in any way, but very like empathetic, polite, and kind of thing. And so I'm like trying to use this as like a momentary door
Yeah.
into him.
Well, and what's interesting though is that because you don't, so this isn't you don't have mind, so it's not like you're learning about like his intent, like mentally, but you can plumb the depths of his like actual like physical form, so you'd be able to know physically what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And
So
you
I
have
more
to
want to know like a bit more about like who is this dude? Like, is he magical? Is he nervous? Is he like
yeah.
is hiding something? Is he like trying to get a better sense of like,
And it's all going to be body feels, and it'll be on you to kind of like determine.
because I've got life and entropy, which might both be able to play into this in some way.
Yeah. I think this is a life effect, for sure. And let me take a look at the difficulty here, because you're really just using a like life 1. Let's see what life 1 is about here. Yeah, because life, like, you're just learning stuff. If you wanted to, like, cause a disease in him, you could do that. You know, like, life is pretty strong. Like, healing and harming is just life 2. So, cool. Okay, yeah, just the life 1 effect. And I think in this case, we're looking at probably 3 successes to get like a really good like vibe off of his like his body based on imbibing some of his fluids.
Cool. So that's just a straight life roll or bloop bloop.
Yeah, be an Arte
How do I
roll.
roll it? Oh yes.
Yeah, so you can roll your Arte. Difficulty is going to be 4 because it is coincidental, but you need 3 successes.
So I just click Arte for. Sorry, I haven't done this one at
Oh
all.
yeah, that's okay.
I just click Arte and then that's all I have to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm going with 3 successes because the difficulty here is like the closest one I can find is like reading or affecting someone else's mind. So you're trying to read his mind, but you're reading his body instead.
Yeah. And sorry, you said the difficulty was.
Difficulty's only 4 because you only need the first sphere.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking aced
I
it.
kill it.
Totally killed it. Okay. So, how does this work? Do you feel his feelings? Do you like how does this feel or look for Litany? Because we haven't seen Litany's magic before.
Yeah, so I think that I mean I've done magic stuff before, but not very much magic stuff.
Sure.
I think
You're literally like tasting his feelings.
I'm not trained enough that I like have a really like separated kind of magical thing. It's more like I get a really strong sense of a thing, mostly like so in like that moment, like down this whole beer, have that like adjustment moment where your body's like, what? For a second, and then you're like, cool, not actually super drunk yet or anything. And then in that moment, it's just like I'm like feeling his body feelings, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I like step into him for a second.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like
Yeah.
because I wanted to know how to impart that information as either like you can sense what he feels.
No,
or
I'm feeling it
you're
all. It's like
feeling
I'm,
his feelings.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's like I get a snapshot of like being in his body.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So immediately, and I guess this is one advantage that we have in playing a role-playing game is this is the kind of thing that would be impossible in like a TV show or a movie to impart because I can just tell you what your character feels.
Mm-hmm.
So you you feel like I guess immediately the sense, first of all, of like being in a body that's not yours. So immediately you feel the way, like the way that his center of gravity is in a different place, and how his like skeleton is shaped differently than yours. You feel that alien sense of heavy bodiness being like elsewhere, and you really have to kind of like work your way through that surface level of just like being out of body. And man, astral travel would be so fucked up for Litany because like the total removal of the body would be so fucked up and weird. But you're just transferring, so you can feel his like kind of essence sort of filling you, and you're feeling his body from the inside. And after that immediate sense passes away, you can feel more nuanced stuff. You can feel his heartbeat. It's different than yours. It beats at a different rhythm. It's faster. You can feel there's a sense of like warmth in his cheeks that you don't have. There's you can feel like the tiny like hairs on his arms kind of like standing up. He's got like sweat beading under his hair, like on his forehead and like at the small of his back. And he's like in a hurry. He's trembling slightly. You can feel he's aware of his own awkwardness as he like rolls up the cord and like shoves it in his bag. And the room from his point of view is like brighter. His pupils are like dilated, and you can feel the obvious and like clear feeling of the like sugar cube that he took from Litany in his pockets, like in the pocket of his pants, like pressing against his leg. Like he feels that, like he's really aware of it as well. Yeah, and his stomach is kind of like his stomach is kind of fluttery.
And then like looked him straight in the eye, and so like I'm physically like looking him in the eye while I'm like feeling all of this too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and
Which
and
is,
I
like,
guess
part
if
of why, because
visually,
eye contact is also one of my things, so that's another like way that it's easier to get this feedback loop where it's
yeah,
like I like jump into his body, but I'm like watching, so I'm
yeah.
like inside his body, like looking in my own eyes, so it like all comes back faster.
Well, and you're in your body too, right? Like
Yeah.
you're experiencing both at once, and he yeah, like his like mouth is dry, and if visually if we were getting this as a shot, it would be like those kind of like series of hard cuts of like very close up shots of like, yeah, like you look
And,
at him and
like,
his pupil
Sweat
dilates,
beading
and
here.
yeah,
like,
maybe the shot of like his capillaries like expanding, like we get the kind of like blood flow, like blood flowing quickly, and like the throbbing sound of his heart beating. And you know feelings, right? This is a thing.
I hella
that
no
he feels.
feelings.
He's not. This is a flight response. This is a fear response.
Mm-hmm.
He is afraid of this conversation and wants to get out.
I'm going to I'm gonna like blink and like back into my own kind of like, because I don't think I can like stay there for very long. I think
I mean,
it's
with
probably
3 successes, you can live in this dude's feels for a while, as long as you're
great.
like
In
in
that point,
proximity.
I stay there for a second because I
Yeah.
want to like interact and see how this changes.
Sure.
While I can still like feel what's going on. And so I'm gonna like reach out and put my hand on his like forearm
Okay.
and be like, I hope I'm not like rushing you off or anything.
When you touch his forearm, this would be like the snapshot of like a forest somewhere, like a rainforest or something, and like a deer like looking up startled from like the brush. You know, like he's just
Okay.
like you can see it, and you feel his like sudden fear at your touch of being like he pauses.
Okay. Is he like holding his breath for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I'm like, yeah, really glad you came. Looking forward to, reading your thoughts on things. When do you think your article will be out? And I'm still just like maintaining solid eye contact with him.
Okay. He stutters like something, and like you can feel like he's trying to make words, and his like mouth is dry, so he can't quite form what he's like trying to say, and he's like, and like stumbles, like he's paralyzed, and obviously
Yeah.
to anyone else in the room, like wouldn't notice at all. Like this is just like it looks like a conversation, and he's being kind of awkward.
Yeah. And I'm like, thanks for the business card though. I'll be sure to look you up.
Yeah, he nods. He's like, yeah, I got a couple of articles on the site. Yeah, no, this was cool. You have any like he's like he pushes his chair back and there's like a loud scrape. And yeah, and he stands up. It's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go. But yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear. Could you say that again?
Is there any opportunity to like stumble across this scene?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you can feel free to like be like, yeah, cool, I'm there. Like I want everybody to be able to participate. So.
Yeah, like I want to walk downstairs, probably towards the tail end of this conversation.
Okay, sure.
So, like probably with Litney's like hand on this guy's arm, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I mean he stands up and kind of like steps back or pulls back from Litney as you walk over.
okay.
Do you say or do anything? Otherwise you're behind me. I won't know that I won't have noticed that you're there necessarily. Unless unless he sees you and I see.
Yes, you would see. Yeah, totally. Like you perceive what he perceives in the sense of like, yeah, like he feels like, okay, first of all, like he gets more nervous as Iori approaches. Like his heartbeat continues to like pulse and yeah, and he pulls away a little bit and he sees Iori behind you.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna just like maintain eye contact with him and be like, "Oh, Iori." Like I haven't looked to see this dude. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't turned around to see that he's there. I just know, I just know somehow that he's there, right? I'm like, "Oh, Iori, I was just talking to Emilio here. He's writing an article for The Waking Eye about the film." And I'm still just like, eyes on this dude.
Oh. Does he want to show it to Lyric? They'll be down in a minute.
And I'm like,
really interested.
Yeah, Emilio.
Interested in that.
Actually, that would mean a lot. Would you mind just opening your laptop back up and just like showing us through some of the stuff you've jotted down so far?
So this is like the deer in the woods, like locking eyes with the wolf as like another one emerges from the brush, like starting to feel surrounded. And I think he says he's like, yeah, I don't really feel like comfortable sharing until it's finished, but I mean, I could send it over as soon as it's done if you want to take a look.
Okay,
it's not really about like the place or the showing; it's mostly about the movie.
I want to grab my phone out of the pocket. I want to like sniff packets of this guy.
Okay.
My suspicion is rearoused by Litany reacting very deliberately to them in a way that I know she's normally very, very like very tactful with people, and it's all like natural. This feels a bit stilted, so I'm just like,
I feel like this is Predator Litany coming out.
Oh, this is definitely Predator Litany.
Yeah.
Everything that I do is like very calculated, and
Totally.
I mean,
head down, eyes up.
Machine. Come on.
Yeah, totally.
Machine demeanor out in here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like I imagine with this in this space for us specifically, it's not like I have stuff routed all through my router which I'm looking at. It's more just that sort of the internet flows through where I can see it because it's data, and they sort of corresponds to what I know about. So if he's like looking at specific things and stuff, I should be able to get a sense.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, you're doing like just like a vibe read on his like techno space.
Yep.
Okay.
And I love also that actually the way that Whitney's talking to him, depending on like if he is just a regular dude there writing a thing, the way that I'm talking to him is probably just me flirting with him. But if he is actually not regular dude with secretive bullshit, then everything I'm saying is incredibly pointed and threatening.
Yeah. And you're cued into his physical response.
That's why I'm like, exactly. So I'm like, cool. If depending on what he knows and what he's expecting and what his view of the situation is, either I'm like very pointedly being like, I see what you're up to, and I'm like threatening you, or I'm like being playful and flirtatious. So he's not reacting as if this is playful flirtatiousness. So
right. Remind me either definitely to or never to play vampire with you. All right. So Iori, you want to make a correspondence check of the zone? Because correspondence for you is like data as well, right?
Yeah, I think a step further than that. I think even if the words specifically aren't going to tell me what I want to know, I want to read into like the intentions behind them, because like we've kind of established a little bit already. You can read sort of, or I have read previously, like what the intentions are behind a message that are like left imprinted on a device. So I think I'm trying to wrangle for a bit of mind in there as well to see like what the concept is, even if he is being covert.
Right, you're using his data. You're basically just like search engine analysis on him, where you're looking at his metadata for all the stuff he's been doing while he's been in your computer space, and then trying to interpolate his intent from that.
Yeah, but it's like non-interfaced. It's like the core concept of it. It doesn't go through an actual search engine thing.
Yeah.
because it does physically exist to me.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So, correspondence 1 for datas and mind 1 for the specific use thereof. So,
Okay.
and you're basically just looking at your phone because you obviously have software to analyze like you said, you're packet sniffing. So, let's say it's going to be a 5 or 4 difficulty. Yeah, 4 difficulty. It's not too difficult, and you want to. I mean, I feel like this is probably as dramatic. You're basically trying to read his mind, or you're trying to get his intent, but in a more calculated way. So, yeah, same jam. 3 successes.
Okay, I'll spend a willpower.
Okay.
For 1 success.
Ooh,
Got him.
Yeah, that willpower. Okay. So what does this look like? What kind of information? You just are glancing at your phone while Litany is stalking her prey. What does that look like?
I think it's just tapping through, just on my phone. I've got his website up from the card, and I'm checking through the source of it, to see sort of what ideas he's been sending to whether it's this space or not. It really is just looking at the apps, but there's maybe just maybe it's just split screen where you have one app on one side. One is just the normal stuff. The other one is just a string of data, and that just makes sense to me.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you're using things he's written previously. You're not actually hacking his laptop or anything, right? You're
No.
just getting an idea of him from the data space he occupies. Cool.
Yep.
I love this two-pronged approach where Litany is yeah, no, but I want to know what is his body doing, and you're yeah, let's forget all that stuff and just look at him as a data web.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, so okay, your phone is running a protocol that builds a personality profile or whatever for him, and you got 3 successes, so it's pretty significant. He's a person who seems to be fairly moderate about the things that he's expressing. He's not a firebrand about anything. He's not a conspiracy theorist or something. He writes predominantly about local film events. The website itself has a significant history, and I think it's built on the one end. It looks like it goes back a few months, but you can see very clearly that it's engineered to look that way. It's a normal person wouldn't be able to tell, but the site actually hasn't been around that long. But it's been somehow seeded into the web to have a history above and beyond just backdating posts. There's search engine history for it that doesn't work. It doesn't jibe with real data.
Okay. That is enough, I think, along with Litany's suspicions, and also the fact that people aren't supposed to know about this place to write about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's by invitation only, otherwise it is overlooked. That is specific and something we know about this space we've created.
Yeah.
So,
no, you were looking into him specifically though, right? Not just the site, but for him,
yes.
He's similar. Emilio DaCosta, same jam. He's got a Facebook page, goes back, years. He's got lots of friends. There's photos and all that stuff. It's engineered. It's not real. It's fake. You can see the fakeness of his online persona with this magic. So yeah, it's clear that he's aware of it. It's not like he's fake. That's part of what's making him act he's out of place. You can see his fakeness in his spirit online, basically.
Okay. So I step a little bit closer and I look at Litany and I'm Emilio, if that really is your name.
I'm still just watching him. I haven't turned around to look at
Text me so I can be in the scene.
I mean, you could just
of
come. You
course.
could just come out
Yeah,
if you
of course.
want.
I can send. I will send an alert as well as I'm putting my phone away, just like to you. I'm just like.
And so I'm like,
Yeah,
There's
like
a
a
special
blast
text that
to
will
my
give
heart.
like an alert that you're not used to. It's like a danger alert that I've programmed into everything that accesses this network. I'm just like, yep.
and so yeah, I had like just kind of started to get into my groove, and then this like notification goes off. I'm just I check my phone and then come out into the lobby.
It's just like it looks like a normal notification, but there's like a red background on it, and it says like intruder alert or something.
Yeah, so I'll come out to the entryway.
Okay, sure. So Lenny, when Yuri is like, if that is your real name, he has a dual response of like there's like a sort of fear spike, and then the response to that is to like he laughs nervously but tries to make it like, "Oh, you made a joke." And he looks at Yuri and he's like, "I'm sorry, we haven't." And he like puts his hand out.
Like I just look down at it, and I like reach behind myself, and I think I'll just like pull out a what is a relevant type of weapon to have here.
What would you have tucked in the back waistband of your sweatpants?
Buster sword.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Huge
obviously,
two-handed claymore.
He doesn't have the Buster Sword yet.
Yeah.
Doesn't have
But
to.
you don't have it yet. Yeah.
This is
It's
like
it's about being sneaky. It's about being underhanded.
Well, think about what's the intent of the weapon, right? Like, because weapons are designed for things. If you're making a TV show and you want to have like a cool, impressive weapon, you use a different thing than if you want to use something to frighten someone. So what would be like an archetypally scary weapon? Right?
it's got to be like hooked or squiggly.
Or even
Or
like
it has
just
a whole bunch of like barbed.
or even just like a gun. Like
Or a
it depends.
gun.
It depends on what you
Yeah.
want to use it for, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Think about
god, it's totally because we're profiling this guy. It is like a replica of one of the guns from Psychopaths, which does
Right.
the like I will hold to him, and if I believe it, it will know that he's a criminal, and it will go into lethal mode instead of stun mode.
All right.
So,
So
grab
pulling
that out, and you can see it like.
a gun out of nowhere there's definitely some magic going on here.
I mean, it's from the back of his waistband.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's from nowhere.
He's pulling a rabbit out of his hat. You know,
Yeah.
in so many.
Yeah, it's a vulgar.
Yeah.
It's a vulgar correspondence effect for sure. Because I know what these guns look like. It's not a small gun.
No, it's huge.
So correspondence. The other thing is, it's okay. So you can pull out a gun that looks like that, but without matter to like create the gun, it doesn't actually do. It won't actually do anything, right? Like.
Oh no, yeah, okay. I do have matter as well though.
Yeah, but you only have matter one.
Oh.
To pull. I mean, basically, you either have to make the thing with a different roll and have it somewhere, and then use correspondence to get it, or you can use correspondence, matter, and like prime or whatever to like create the gun itself from nothing.
Can you pull something that exists in your sanctum down to here?
Yeah, I might want to do that instead.
Sure, but you don't actually. It doesn't actually exist yet. You could theoretically, like by your character, you could have a replica of it, but you would have to have
no
made.
real gun.
There's no real gun. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's really my style to have a gun anyway. Let's take that back a second.
Okay.
I will just take out like
It's some kind of sword. Everything is a sword with you.
yeah, it's probably like like a fabled dagger of it'll be like a fabled tanto used by like Ryu Hayabusa or something, like a ninja.
Right. Okay. So you pull out a very sharp-looking, scary sword. Let's see how that goes. So what sphere would you need? I don't know if it's correspondence to
Big chat. Like it has to be slightly coincidental.
2 or 3. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be coincidental, right? I mean, you can just go and it appears out of nowhere.
No, I want to look like I've got it on me already.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like it's going to be the same difficulty. It's just up to you how you want to make it look.
Okay.
So for pulling it from upstairs, I'm just looking for the teleporting an object thing. I think it is probably requires 2. Correspondence 2.
Yeah, 2 sounds about right. 3 is very much more.
3 is like a big difference.
Yeah, like a dimensional gate type thing.
Yeah, totally. Okay, all right. So make an Arte roll, and it's not crossing like a huge distance, and it's coming from somewhere that you already know. So 2 successes should do it for you.
Okay.
And the difficulty is going to be 7.
5.
It's because it's not coincidental, right? You're not like
Shit.
yeah. It's a vulgar effect, and there are witnesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Oh no!
No.
Paradox.
Paradox. It's happening.
It's
It had to
happening.
happen eventually.
All right. So, in an attempt to be intimidating, you try to call down your sword from upstairs, and let's see what happens. 'Cause that's a botch for sure.
That is botch.
Sword time. Yep. Okay. So let's see. On a botch, you take vulgar with witnesses. 2 plus 2 dot per highest sphere. So you take 6 paradox.
Oh my god.
And it's over 5, so let's just do the backlash right now. We'll just blow those paradox. So
Okay.
a paradox backlash roll. We roll 1 die for each point in paradox in your pool against difficulty 6. So let's see here.
Okay. So I have 7 paradox total, including those 6.
Yes, so you're gonna roll 7 dice.
Okay.
Bye, Yori.
Oh.
Bye.
So for folks who are asking, so it's not coincidental because it's a sword from a pair of sweatpants, and calling it from the sanctum made it so you needed less successes, but there were none at all. So
What was the difficulty? Sorry.
difficulty is 6.
Okay. Oh god. Oh god, I don't want this.
I don't want this.
Oh god.
All right, four successes between 1 and 5 is
1 into success. I don't
1 and
feel.
5 is fine. So okay, so here's what happens. 1 point of paradox is discharged per success, so you lose 4.
Well, that's good. I can't tell what's good or bad anymore.
Yeah, do we
Yes.
want to discharge it?
Yes, you want to discharge it. It gets rid of them, so you can mark off 4. Those go away. In the process, however, you take 1 level of bashing damage per success. So you take 4 levels of bashing damage.
God, how do we... Right, so...
So the slash is bashing,
The
the X
X
is
is
lethal, and the star is aggravated.
Okay, so I just go down 4 boxes?
Yeah, 4 of them. Yeah.
You're down to
You're
wounded.
wounded.
With the slash,
Yeah,
God.
4 slashes.
4 slashes.
Yeah. And then you acquire a trivial paradox flaw.
Oh my god.
Um,
I love this game already. It's so awful.
so let's look at the thing about paradox flaw. Paradox flaws. Where are they at?
I love that this is an example of how like completely opposite Iori and Kaguya's styles are, where like Iori is all about the really like blatant flashy magic, and if Kaguya is doing it right, like no one ever knows what's happened.
Okay, so a trivial flaw, I'll read the description. 1 to 5 point backlash. Short-lived distortions of body or circumstance haunt the mage for a short time. Hair changes color, skin chills or grows uncomfortably warm, breezes blow or air stills, odd smells waft from the mage's general direction. The mage might hear or speak
Odd
words in
smell.
reverse, witness minor hallucinations, dull or stabbing pains affect his joints. Whatever the flaw may be, it's in effect between several minutes and several hours before fading away. Unless, of course, you continue to garner paradox, at which point the flaw may last longer and become more intense. So, how does this work according to your? Let's talk about your paradigm here, your paradox paradigm. What would be a temporary flaw? You go to retrieve your weapon, it's not available to you. Your character is harmed as a result. What does that look like in terms of? Because it's often how your paradox uh, happens. Like it's often how your paradigm like they function the same way. So what do you think?
Right. So, um, I'm clearly not yet worthy to do this. I'm not embodying it correctly, or the things that I need to do to be able to access this. And I think it's probably accompanied by like hallucinations, like my own imagination for what the situation requires sort of becomes a bit more real to me. So I probably see him as like an enemy.
Oh
Like,
man, so like yeah, you're like your view of everybody, you get the kind of like heads up display of like threat levels for everybody, and like yeah, he's like super aggro and his level indicator is a big scary skull. And yeah, maybe it's like you get put into this like place of like lack of self empowerment, and suddenly like everyone just seems like way too high level for you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's totally something like that.
Yeah, and at the same time, we see Yuri like stagger back, and your health bar goes and like drops, and like you physically are like racked with like pain, and you like have to sit down. Um, and I think that's when Kaguya, like when you come in, you see Yuri like reach for something, but then stumble and like fall into a chair. And Litney's still got this guy pinned with her gaze. And let's cop a break here, and when we get back, I want to see the third wolf enter the scene and see what Kaguya has to say to this guy. Sound good? All right, stick around. We'll be right back.